Welcome to First Sleep Aid, calm stories to help you unwind, learn, and fall asleep. From true crime to curious facts and thoughtful ideas, always softly spoken. Subscribe now and take a deep breath. You're in good hands.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture Germany in, say, 1945. Well, it's not a pretty sight.
No, definitely not. We're talking about utter devastation. Cities like Berlin, Dresden, Hamburg, Cologne, basically reduced to rubble after the war.
Millions dead, so many more displaced, homeless, and this just overwhelming feeling of collective guilt, shame.
Absolutely. The nation was fractured, divided into occupation zones, and really seen as a pariah internationally.
Yeah, they were even excluded from things like the Olympic Games, just completely isolated.
And yet, amidst all that despair, something quite unexpected started to offer a bit of solace.
Football.
Football, exactly. Even though organized sports were initially banned and the German Football Association, the DFB, was dissolved for a time.
Right. And when games did start again, it was very makeshift, wasn't it? Whatever pitches they could find, whatever equipment.
It really was, but the passion, the love for the game itself, that hadn't gone away.
And it became more than just a game, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was fascinating how playing football became, symbolic. It was about endurance, sure, but also a way for communities to reconnect.
Find some shared purpose, maybe? A bit of hope in, well, incredibly dark times.
Precisely. And slowly rebuilding things like the DFB, that was a small but vital step in trying to piece together some kind of national identity again.
And there was one figure who was really central to this, wasn't there? Sepp Herberger, often called a quiet visionary.
Yes, Herberger. He saw football as, well, more than just kicking a ball around. He genuinely believed it could help with moral and psychological recovery.
How so? What did he emphasize?
Things like discipline, strategy, and really importantly, humility. The values that were frankly the opposite of the aggression and hyper-individualism of the recent past.
So it was about the team, the collective effort.
Exactly. And that idea of the collective, I think, resonated deeply. The whole concept of the individual hero had been so twisted by the Nazis.
Right, so Herberger's focus on teamwork, on selflessness, it was a necessary alternative.
If a much-needed one, yes.
Okay, so let's jump forward a bit. Fast forward to 1954. The rebuilding is happening, slowly, maybe cautiously.
Yeah, West Germany was starting to see the first glimmers of economic recovery, the very beginnings of what they later called the Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle.
Helped by the new Deutschmark and the Marshall Plan money coming in.
Right, so there was this cautious optimism building, but internationally, still very much on the outside looking in.
And then comes the 1954 FIFA World Cup in Switzerland.
Ah, yes. This wasn't just another tournament. For West Germany, it felt like the first real chance to step back onto the world stage in a positive light.
So our deep dive today is really about exploring how this sporting event, this World Cup, became such a pivotal moment, a moment of, you could say, profound transformation for a nation searching for redemption.
Absolutely. It really did go far beyond just football. It was about Germany finding its feet again, trying to redefine itself, and maybe showing the world a different side resilience. Collective effort, not aggression.
Now, going into that World Cup, nobody really expected much from West Germany, did they? The odds were, well, they were heavily stacked against them.
To say the least. You had the Hungarian team, the mighty Magyars. Unbelievable side.
They hadn't lost a match in 4 years.
4 years, an incredible record. And then in the group stage of the World Cup, they meet West Germany.
And it was a disaster for the Germans. Hungary won 8-3.
8-3, a crushing defeat. It seemed to just confirm everything, that West Germany just wasn't in the same league.
Any hope just seemed extinguished right there.
But here's where it gets interesting and where Herberger's mind comes into play. That 8-3 loss, it wasn't quite what it seemed.
What do you mean?
Well, Herberger was strategic. He knew they didn't necessarily have to win that specific group game to progress. The format was a bit different then.
Okay.
So he actually chose to field a deliberately weakened team against Hungary, rested some of his key players.
Essentially through the match.
Not through it, perhaps, but he prioritized. He conserved his best players for what he thought were the more crucial knockout games to come. It was a huge gamble, of course.
Wow. Risky for team morale, surely. And public perception back home.
Absolutely. A high-stakes gamble. But looking back, strategically, maybe a stroke of genius.
Well, it certainly seems that way now. So after that hammering, they had to play a playoff against Turkey to even get into the quarterfinal.
It did, and they won that convincingly 7-2, so maybe Herberger's plan was already paying off.
And then they kept going. Beat Yugoslavia 2-0 in the quarters.
Then Austria, 6-1 in the semifinals, suddenly, somehow, against all expectations.
They're in the final.
They're in the final, facing Hungary again, the mighty Magyars, the team that beat them 8-3 just weeks earlier.
The whole country must have been absolutely gripped by this point.
Oh, completely. Radio became essential. People gathered around radios everywhere, homes, pubs, squares. It was a huge communal experience.
A chance to feel some collective pride again. A break from the weight of the past.
Exactly that. A much-needed respite. And Herberger apparently was very keen on shielding his team from all the hype and pressure, just focused on preparation, instilling belief.
Belief that even the seemingly invincible Hungarians could be beaten.
Yes, he was a pragmatist, but he knew the psychological side was crucial.
So the final itself,
Yeah.
July 4th, 1954, in Bern, Switzerland. And it was raining, wasn't it?
Pouring down. Fritz Walter weather, they called it later, after the German captain who apparently played well in the rain. It created this incredibly tense atmosphere.
And Hungary started just as everyone feared. Strong.
Very strong. Ferenc Puskás, their legendary captain, scored after just 6 minutes.
And then disaster struck again.
2 minutes later, Zoltán Csibor makes it 2-0 to Hungary. 8 minutes in, 2-0 down. It looked like the script was playing out exactly as predicted.
Oh, man. That must have felt like a punch to the gut. For the players, for everyone listening back home.
It really must have. It would have been so easy for the German team to just crumble right there, lose heart completely.
But they didn't.
They didn't. And what happened next was, well, incredible. Just 2 minutes after Hungary's second goal, Max Morlock somehow scrambles the ball over the line for Germany. 2-1.
A lifeline.
A crucial one. And then, believe it or not, only 10 minutes later, Helmut Rahn scores again for Germany.
No.
Level. 2-2. Within the first 20 minutes, an absolutely unbelievable turnaround.
Just stunning. The game must have completely changed then.
It became a real fight, a battle of wills. Hungary kept attacking wave after wave. They were still incredibly dangerous.
But the German defense held.
They did, and crucially, their goalkeeper, Tony Turek, had the game of his life. He made save after save. Some truly spectacular ones.
The football god, they call him later.
He certainly earned it that day. The conditions were getting worse too, the pitch becoming heavier, muddier.
Did that play a part?
Many think so. It perhaps hampered Hungary's more technical, skillful style a little, and maybe suited the more physically robust Germans.
Interesting. So the scores locked at 2-2 for a long time. The tension must have been unbearable.
For over an hour. And then as the clock ticked down, 84th minute, 6 minutes left.
This is the moment, isn't it?
This is the moment. Germany breaks forward. The ball comes to Helmut Rahn again, just outside the penalty area.
Rahn, who scored the equalizer.
The same man. He cuts inside, feints past a defender, shifts the ball onto his left foot,
Shoots.
and unleashes this powerful low shot. It flies past the Hungarian keeper.
Goal.
Goal. And that's when you get that legendary radio commentary from Herbert Zimmermann.
The one everyone remembers.
Aus dem Hintergrund müsste ranschießen, ranschießt. Tor, 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 Tor.
Goal, goal, goal.
Tor für Deutschland. 3-2 für Deutschland. Goal for Germany. Germany leads 3-2.
Unbelievable. Goosebumps just hearing it described.
But wait, the drama wasn't even over then.
What? More?
In the dying moments, Puskás actually scores again for Hungary. It looks like 3-3.
Oh my God.
But the linesman's flag is up, offside. Controversially, perhaps, but ruled out.
Heartbreak for Hungary, relief for Germany.
Immense relief. And then, finally, the whistle blows. It's over.
West Germany 3, Hungary 2.
West Germany are world champions. The impossible had happened.
The scenes afterwards
Bleh.
must have been pure chaos, pure joy.
Just incredible. Players weeping on the pitch, fans celebrating wildly back in Germany, pouring into the streets. It was catharsis.
Yeah, so much more than just winning a football trophy. It felt like, as we said, a symbolic rebirth.
It really did. That phrase captures it perfectly. It gave people a collective joy, a pride that wasn't tainted by the past, by militarism.
Even the Chancellor, Adenauer, recognized it, didn't he? Calling it a sign of Germany's rebirth.
He did. The political significance was immediately understood, and psychologically monumental. It started to chip away at that deep, deep sense of inferiority, that shame that had hung over the country since the war.
And you mentioned the Wirtschaftswunder earlier. Is there a connection? Did this victory somehow boost that economic recovery?
It's hard to draw a direct causal line, obviously, but the timing is suggestive. Many felt it bolstered national confidence, that feeling of, We can do this, that spirit of collective effort you saw on the pitch.
Maybe that translated
Mhm.
into a belief that they could rebuild the country, rebuild the economy.
It seems plausible. Some contemporary reports definitely made that link. A newfound optimism. If they could achieve the impossible in sport, maybe they could achieve great things elsewhere too.
It certainly fostered a sense of unity,
Yeah.
right? And football just exploded in popularity.
Massively, it became even more central to German culture, a real unifying force.
And this whole event, the final, the victory, it's become known as the Miracle of Bern. It's almost legendary now.
It really is a national myth, not just a football match, but a story about resilience, about renewal, about beating the odds.
Yeah, you see it referenced everywhere. Books, documentaries. That film, Das Wunder von Bern.
Sunk of Wortmann's film, yeah. It captured that feeling really well. It's a story that keeps being told because it speaks to something fundamental, I think, about a nation's ability to pick itself up.
And it's interesting how that memory, that positive story, exists alongside Germany's ongoing efforts to confront its Nazi past the Vergangenheitsbewältigung.
Exactly. It doesn't erase the darkness, but it provides a different narrative thread, a moment of positive national identity built on something other than conquest or ideology. It offers hope.
So the Miracle of Bern, way more than 90 minutes of football. It was a glimpse of dignity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A surge of pride and genuine hope for a nation literally rebuilding itself from the ashes.
A truly pivotal moment.
It really makes you reflect, doesn't it, on the
Mm.
power of these shared moments, these unexpected triumphs, how they can resonate and shape not just national feeling, but individual hope for years, even decades later.
Absolutely. What are those moments in our own collective memory or even our personal lives that hold that kind of unexpected transformative power? Something to think about.